Hey, it's Dan, welcome back. Today we're taking a little tour under the hood of the car. So inside here, we've got a very famous motor, the RB26DETT. And some people don't know, but every character in that means something. The RB is the series of engine. The 26 is for a 2.6 liter inline 6 motor. And the DETT on the end stands for dual overhead cam, electronically fuel injected, and twin turbo. So this is an original motor. This is the motor that came in the car. It has not been swapped. You may see RB26s that are black. The R32 and R33 generations of the Skyline with the RB26 had an engine cover that was metal and it was painted black. When they got to the R34, they went to a plastic engine cover and they decided to paint it red. If you've seen an R34 with a green cover or a grayish green cover, that color is called jade green, and it was unique to the V-Spec GTRs that were made in 2002. However, most original configuration R34s you'll see will have a red engine cover. This engine bay is largely stocked with some Nismo bolt-in parts, and I'm going to tell you about what they are. The first part that's obviously pops out is this titanium strut bar here. The factory strut bar is steel and it is adjustable at the center. I'm going to show it to you here. This is what you'd normally see in this car. However, for the R33 and the R34, Nismo made this titanium part. This part is 3.5 pounds. It's all titanium and it's hand welded. The original steel bar is much heavier. The pipes for the turbos up here, you can see these micro polished aluminum pipes and these blue silicone headers here. This is a Nismo part that optimizes airflow. The original part was a cast part and actually had a big nice twin turbo badge on it in red that matched the motor, and you might be used to seeing this part. However, if people have done basic Nismo bolt-on upgrades, you'll find that this part's been removed for the micro polished aluminum. The air scoop, this is a Nismo R-Tune part, and it's a fiber reinforced plastic air scoop that pushes air back here to the airbox. The original part is a molded plastic part. It's not quite as attractive, and because it's thicker material, it doesn't allow quite as much airflow. One unique Nismo part under the hood here is this oil catch can. This separator takes an air line coming from the breather here. Oil can't turn the corner as fast as air can to come back out of the can, so the oil falls off the bottom of the can and goes back down to the rear turbo to be re-entered into the system. In a previous episode you saw the Nismo intercooler from the front here, and if you come up top, now that we have the hood open, you can see the size of the intercooler core that's used here. The original intercooler core for this car is about 2 inches. However, for a little bit better airflow, this 4-inch core is the Nismo part. It does bolt right up, it's very tight fit. It does require the Nismo front bumper to be in place. Along with the Nismo intercooler, there is a Nismo piping kit for the intercooler that includes 3 pipes. One is on each side of the intercooler and they're not visible with the bumper on. However, this is the 3rd pipe here. This is a rubber pipe on the original car. However, this micro polished aluminum pipe going to the intake here with the silicone joints is part of the Nismo piping kit. It's typically installed with the Nismo intercooler. The R34 GTR does not have a battery up front. There is an engine cover here with some fuse box and a little bit of electrical junction. However, the battery is located in the back seat behind the rear seats. We've got an enormous amount of plumbing and piping for the turbos here. This is one of the reasons that left-hand drive Skylines are not common. First of all, none were manufactured from the factory. However, in order to make room for the steering column on this side of the car, on a left-hand drive conversion, usually there needed to be dramatic modifications to the piping in this area. It's not uncommon for people to go with a different manifold and go to a large single turbo when they do a left-hand drive conversion. In the US, we don't have to do those. However, in some countries, in order to drive the cars on public roads, a left-hand drive conversion is required. Now, this engine is unmodified. A lot of people do make changes to their motors, however, it's a very strong engine. And Nismo has a number of tuning packages for the car that are available, and they increase boost, change timing. Some of them require modifications to the engine like cams, some are more mild. What we've got installed in this car is the Nismo Sports Resetting package. Now what you're seeing on the screen is the Nismo factory-tuned ECU that can be bought from Omari shops in Japan. This cannot be ordered as a part. This has to be installed at an Omari shop in Japan. We were lucky enough to get this one out of a wreck. So the ECU isn't visible, but it is installed in the car. It raises our boost about 0.05 bar, maybe 1 psi. It's a very mild tuning package from this engine. However, it does raise the factory output and give you a little more boost and a little bit more fun without making dramatic changes to the car. The airflow upgrades, like the intake, a low restriction Nismo air filter, are all required, as well as a change to the exhaust system. One popular exhaust upgrade to this car from Nismo, and a required part for the sports resetting system, was the Weldina NE1. The Weldina NE1, made by Nismo, was the equivalent of the Z-Tune exhaust system for the R34. However, the actual Z-Tune R34 exhaust system was made in titanium, and if you bought it aftermarket for a non-Z-Tune car, it came to you in steel. The factory GTR had twin tips here, and most of the cars you see out on the street will have a large single tip like this. The factory twin tips were an active system where one tip was always open and the other tip was closed for sound reduction unless there was enough back pressure from the engine to open it up. The original factory exhaust was very restrictive on this car, and it's one of the first modifications that anyone will make. In Japan, they had a 280 horsepower maximum rating for their cars. No one rated a car over 280 PS or 276 horsepower, and the exhaust is one of the ways that they made sure that these cars were actually trying to achieve their performance numbers. That's why you'll see a single tip on a GTR much more often. Most of the aftermarket system give you a large single exhaust like this one. So that's this episode. We told you a little bit about the motor, showed you the Nismo bolt-on parts we've got under the hood. We've told you about our Nismo Sports Resetting ECU, and we've showed you our very low restriction Weldina NE1 exhaust system that Nismo made for this car. So that's it for today, but before we go, we're going to make a little noise for you, show you what the NE1 system sounds like when it's bolted up to the RB26.